the issue happened with, I think, white people like me, Irish people specifically, was it's almost like a betrayal. I felt like this is my boy, we were together, we're in this thing together. And then it became you white people, this and that. And me understanding my history and understanding where I come from, it's not white people, it's the British, it's the Spanish. Don't put me in there with them. They were raping my people for 1,000 years before they knew the New World existed. Mm-hmm. So then there's this idea that it's not just the sins of the father, which is a tough enough argument. It's the sins of the father that beat the shit out of my father. Yeah. Like, why do I have to...
We speak in generalities, that's why. So we group everybody together. All of us, we're all guilty of it at some point, and it's the worst thing that you can possibly do. I have a great... So I'm driving home. It's like 1:45 in the morning. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I just got out of college. I'm working, training to get overseas to play ball. And me and my buddy are coming back from Hoboken. Another brown-skinned dude. He's in front of me. I'm behind him. And this cop jams in between the both of us. 1:30 in the morning, Roxbury. Jams in between the both of us. And I thought he was going to pull my friend over. So I slow down a little bit. The dude comes back, gets right behind me, like, I'm telling you, G, like, bumper to bumper. And I'm like, if I even brake tap a little bit, this dude's going to hit my car. Puts his lights on, swerves me over. And my mom always told me, whenever you get pulled over, I don't care who it is, go under a street light, right? So it's a well-lit place. People are driving past. They can see that you're on the road. If I have to come, I can see where you are, etc.
And you said your father was a police officer.
My father was a police officer. Mm-hmm. He was one of the first black police officers in Passaic back in the day. So I pull over. This guy comes out, gets on his like little whatever, tells my friend, he goes, because my buddy pulled up, he goes, get out of here. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, let's see what this guy's gonna say. He goes, hey man, you been drinking tonight? I said, no, officer. I said, I don't drink, I don't, smoke. We're just coming back from here. I'm driving this where I live. And he goes, okay, hold tight. Goes back. 3 more cars come. I'm there, sitting there for an hour and a half. Hour and a half. No one's come to my car. They're sitting laughing, bullshitting, talking, and I'm 24 years old. Mm-hmm. The guy comes up to me. The other cars leave. He comes up to me and goes, hey man, yeah, I gotta give you a ticket for that obstruction of view. I had a pine cone behind my rearview mirror. This much was showing. And he gives me the ticket, and I crumple that bitch up, and I throw it up against the window. I was like, I'll see you in court.
Good for you.
So I go to court. I get a public defender, and the guy goes, Cornell, it's only a $25 ticket. If you lose, you're gonna pay $45. And I'm broke. I have no money. All my money's going to training. I have no money. He goes, you might as well just pay it. And like an ass, I pay it, right? Couple years later, I get pulled over, but again, and the guy goes, sir, your light's out. And I'm freaking completely different attitude. Yeah, okay, man. Yeah, my light's out. Blah blah. My fiance at the time is with me. Mm-hmm. He goes, sir. He goes, you can come out and see it. Your light's out. I promise you. I go out. My light's out. I apologize to the officer. Yeah. And I say, hey, I had a bad situation a couple of years ago, and I was like, I shouldn't have took that on you. I apologize. He goes, hey, man, it's not a problem. We're not all the same. That's what he said. He said, we're not all the same.
Yeah.
And let us go. No ticket.
Yeah.
So for me, sometimes you stereotype and you group these people together without realizing we're not all the freaking same.
Sure.
Right? And we see it all the time, but we forget it because we're so invested in our team, right, or in this group think, that we can't sit back and be like, well, my next experience with an officer, or my next experience with a comedian, or my next experience with whoever isn't going to be the same.
And that's really interesting that you said that, because I was just talking about that with my dad the other day. So many cops that I know a lot of cops personally, great dudes. I've also been pulled over by cops who were fucking dickheads. Yeah. And you got to think let's say how you started to go off on the cop. Yeah. Then maybe he pulls the next person over and he's like, all right, motherfucker. He's in a bad mood, and it could go back and forth like that. He's got to be worried about certain shit. You got to be worried about certain shit. You know what I mean? We all it's a bad little cycle. It's a vicious cycle we can kind of get into.
That kind of negative feedback loop that you're talking about is exactly why I feel the way about my politics I do. That forms my libertarian worldview. 99% of cops are good guys. That 1% can have a devastating impact on generations of people. Kill somebody that shouldn't have died. How does that impact his family for generations, right? So when I hear this, and I understand coming from you, it may be racially centric. I hear an abuse of power from the state. I hear another reason to neuter the power of the apparatus that we choose to govern us. There's no reason, under any circumstance, anybody should be allowed to take an hour and a half of your time for anything, really. They stole hour and a half of your life. That there should have been compensation to you, and then you had to pay the state on top of it. That's grotesque to me. I also hate anything that's a fine, because a fine means laws exist for poor people, not rich people. Right? If you can't do this, it's a $25 fine. Well, if you're a 24-year-old athlete struggling to get by, well, that's a law. Shit, this is going to put me out. If you got $100 million in the bank, you can hang a whole blow-up doll from your rear view. Who gives a shit? I'll pay the fine. Right? So these type of things, I see these as societal issues, systemic things that need to be addressed. But I also think they know that. And that's why they want the racial divide. And all Black Lives Matter, that everything that we heard, even Occupy Wall Street, I never once heard credit score brought up. There is nothing that creates a wealth disparity in America like credit score. Nothing. Have you ever heard any of these famous people that are constantly tweeting talk about credit score? Never. Because at the end of the day, they know where their bread is buttered. Yeah. Right? I mean, this is a social justice revolution brought to you by Pfizer and Bud Light. It's not organic. It's not, because if we really wanted to do something to affect change, credit score would be the first thing we did. Credit score means rich people have access to as much money as they want cheaply. Poor people have access to no money. If I want to start a business tomorrow, if I want to get a student loan and go into debt for 4 years and $200,000, they'll give me an unsecured loan to go get educated to be one of their employees. But if I want that same $200,000 unsecured to start a business, I would never be able to get it. I'd have to go to the mob to get it.